Good evening, everyone. Friday, the 27th of February, 2026. Welcome back for the second live stream of the day. And I've got a funny feeling that this evening could be a bit of a warm one. Tonight, I'm inviting on my guests to the show. That is you. It's your show. This is the channel to be, the voice for the people. And everyone is welcome to come on, particularly those this evening. Particularly those that want to challenge my views this week, the things that I have said. Far too many people have been putting words in my mouth. I think that is one of the biggest problems right now, is that people listen to, a few seconds of what I've said. They take it out of context and then they go off saying that I've said things that I haven't done. I will stand by every single word that I have said. And if anyone wants to come on and challenge that, I will be delighted to have you on the show. I will respect you. I will not be rude. Don't be concerned or, nervous about coming on. It's only me, you, and a couple of thousand people watching. So come on and have your say and tell me where you think that I have got it wrong. I'm going to be popping the link in the chat right now. And as I said, look, everyone is welcome, but I'm particularly interested in hearing from those that disagree with me. And I want to know why you disagree with me and tell me where I've got it wrong. I am all ears. I'm always willing to learn. And if someone can convince me that I've got it wrong, that things I've said are wrong, I'm more than happy to admit that I got things wrong. Let's welcome the first caller of the evening, and that is Charlie. Charlie, good evening. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Paul. I can hear you, mate. You're right.
I'm very well, Charlie. Thank you very much. It has been a busy day, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I know. And I was on your live earlier, and I just want to address some of the idiots that was in your live, blaming, having a go at you and everything like that. Paul isn't a problem. I've not seen any other YouTuber, rather than this man, that's tried to unite the right more. This man has tried to unite the right so many times in videos, in live streams. He's not being listened to. Why is everyone having a go at him? It's not his fault. Right, and everyone's saying, "Oh, well, about Rupert Lowe and the Ethnonites." Is that what you call them? I can never get it right. Ethnonites, yeah. Like, they're not welcoming any political party because this is not about colour of skin. This is not about that. This is about saving our Christian heritage. You can be black, brown, white, whatever colour. This is not about colour, right? And I think that one of the people that was attacked, you said it earlier, Paul, I can't remember what his name was, but he streamed at the advanced policy announcement when you couldn't get the link up, and he went live for everyone. I can't remember.
Baraka,
yeah. And the fact that people are telling him to go home when he's actually on our fucking site. Who the fuck do you think you are? Yeah. Seriously, who do people think they are? Who are you going to go after next? Wendell?
Yeah.
Like, it's not about colour of skin, guys. You're fighting amongst yourselves. Yeah, you're fighting amongst yourselves when actually the person who needs to actually wake up and smell the coffee, and in fact, two people, and I'm a full member, but I will call it out, Nigel Farage and Rupert Lowe, you both need to wake up and smell the coffee. Yeah, because the only way we're going to stop these woke Greens and, well, the majority Muslim, because we all saw what happened last night with the Gorton and Denton, with the family voting, the illegal fraud that happened in that election. The enemy united. They united.
Yep.
And
right.
When the enemy, they've shown what happens when they unite. And Zach Polanski this morning, I saw him walking around all cocky. He knew what he did. And so did that Anna Spencer. And thankfully, hopefully, there's not that many idiots in the country that would vote for them, right? But I'm going to say this now. If we don't unite the right within the next 6 to 12 months and we get everyone around the table together and we get this done, including Nigel Farage, Rupert Lowe, Nick Tenconi, Tommy Robinson, everyone, the right will fall. And I fear that within 3 years, the Greens will somewhat get a popularity enough to contend and try and win a general election. But don't attack Paul, because this man has done more for this country. And with all respect to all the other YouTubers, Tusi TV, I've not heard him mention May 16th once. I watch a lot of his videos. He's not mentioned May 16th once. He does a lot of coverage on the Iran, and I know he's got family out there and stuff, but I've not heard him mention May 16th once. The only people that I've heard mention May 16th is Tommy Robinson himself and you, Paul. They're the only people that I've seen covering it.
Look, I appreciate your words. I really do, Charlie. Thank you for that. I mean, look, I will say one thing that, I want to be really clear on this. The one thing that I've noticed is the very people that refused to unite with us at Advance when I was with Advance, those the very same people that wouldn't join with us, that wouldn't unite, are now saying that we're the ones causing the division. And the irony of that is, I think it's very clear. If people can't see that we are the ones that wanted to unite, we've always been the ones that wanted to unite. Even with Farage and Reform, we tried, but we get pushed away.
Sorry, Paul, and I just wanted to say as well to any Reform members, right? Because I'm assuming there will be some Reform UK members watching this.
Sure, yeah.
I'm putting pressure on you because I can't do it on my own. But if you're a member of Reform and you're in your branch WhatsApp group, put pressure on your branches to tell the leadership that they want a united front and they want to join up with Advance and they want to join up with Rupert. Now, Nigel, but obviously if that was to happen, Rupert also needs to open up as well. But I think if there was a pact, the thing I'm worried about a pact, Paul, and I'll be honest with you, right, is that Rupert, Ben and Nigel, you've seen Rupert and Ben can't, for some reason, have a conversation. I don't know what the problem is with them two, why they can't have a conversation, but I'm worried that there'd be three big egos in a small pond. And we all seen what happened when the Tories were in power and how that bloody went up in smoke. And I'd be worried if they got in government, and especially now they've got Robert Jenrick in the party, they're all hungry for power. And I'd be worried that something will happen along the lines and someone's going to get kicked out and it's going to cause the same problems we've had for the last 15 years. But, and just before I drop down, Paul, a piece of advice to you is I wouldn't join another political party because, again, if you join one party, then if you was to say something they don't like, then people are going to come at you saying, well, you're saying this, you're saying that. The best bet for you would be stay independent, do what you do, come in here and speak the truth, and try and unite the right, because I'm a Reform member, but I'm not against anyone. I want to unite the right as well. But we can't do it on our own. We need everyone around the country to unite and put pressure on the leaders at the top of these parties that are calling the shots. Nigel, Ben, Rupert, Nick Tenconi, Tommy, get your acts together, sort this out before it's too late. Because in 3 years' time, if the Greens get in, Paul, people are going to be sitting there saying, fuck, we had the chance and we didn't do it. And I tell you what, it's going to be when they're in power, we're going to have to put up with 5 years of their crap. And it's going to be too late to do anything after that. We're going to be outvoted and the country's going to be gone. And for the first time in our history, we're going to have to say we lost.
Yeah, Charlie, I mean, look, brilliant call. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it, mate. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate that. Look, Charlie's a young man, but he speaks a hell of a lot of sense. I've got a lot of people waiting to come in tonight, so there's going to be a bit of a wait for most people coming in, I'm afraid. Let's go to Tony Parton. Tony, good evening.
Hello again, mate.
How you doing? You all right?
I'm okay. Bit concerned about all of this that's going on. I think we need to have a look at Advance and we need to have a look at who they actually lost to. Because arguing that they lost to Labour, the Green Party, Reform, no, they lost to the Monster Raving Loony Party.
They did.
That's the party that actually got more votes than they did.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
This pointing fingers and having a go, yeah, great, do it, okay, but do it quietly, okay. Ben Habib shot Advance the other day when he attacked Rupert Lowe online with his statement that he made when he accused him.
Yeah, go on. I was just going to say, sorry, I butted in there, but I just wanted to ask you, what did he say that you considered to be an attack?
When he suggested that Rupert Lowe was getting into bed with ethno-nats, we don't actually know that he has. if I was Rupert Lowe, I would seriously consider suing him for saying that. Okay, because what he's done is accused him of something that we don't actually know. Personally, I don't think that Rupert's going to be able to join Advance, because I think Rupert is actually developing a different type of politics altogether. I think he's actually looking at decentralized government, decentralized governance rather than the centralized stuff that we normally get that Advance is offering. Okay, he's looking at local political parties, local independent people, and uniting a group of independents, which is another thing that Ben attacked him on, which was that he was anti-democratic. If you've got a group of democratic parties forming a national government, that's the ultimate declaration of democracy, because what you're doing is you're actually putting the power into local governments and then saying, this is what my people, my constituents are actually looking for. It is what democratic government is supposed to actually look like. Okay.
Yeah, I think when Ben spoke about a lack of democracy, he was talking about the way the party was built. What I don't want to do this evening, particularly, is get involved or in the middle between Ben and Rupert and the right's the wrong of either. Okay. I'm more interested tonight in hearing from people as to what I've got wrong.
So what my big thing with you, what I think you got wrong, is leaving Advance. You know where the problems are. You are a member of Ben's political college. If anybody can make a difference, it was you when you were a member and you were in that political college. I love you to bits, mate. I've been watching you for a couple of years now. And I completely agree with the previous guy who I've heard him speak before, actually. Lovely lad. Yeah, he's absolutely right. No, everybody needs to stop picking on you, because it's not even as if you're trying to get involved in any of this. You're just sort of pointing things out.
Yeah, I find myself in the middle a little bit. I'll tell you what, Tony, let me answer that, what you said about staying in Advance. I had a long conversation with Ben earlier on in the week. I think it was about Monday, maybe Tuesday, and I had informed him of my intention to resign, and I told him my reasons. And my reasons is that I want to serve my viewers with complete transparency, with honesty. And if I get something wrong, I wanted to be able to hold my hands up and say, you know what, lads and lasses, I got this wrong. I've changed my mind. Everyone has the right to change their mind. I want to be able to be truthful. If Rupert does something well, I want to be able to say so. If Nigel Farage does something well, I want to be able to say so. I don't want to be constricted to one party and one leader. And I'll be honest with you, Tony, I'll be really honest with everyone. Look, I think the way things are, after Rupert announced Restore was going to become a political party, in many ways that's made Advance's job 10 times harder. Now, unless Ben's lying to me, and this is a problem, and I hope everyone understands this, because a lot of people think that maybe we've been a bit bitter towards Rupert, but I'd like people to understand this. As far as I'm aware, unless Ben lied to me, and I don't believe that he would, Rupert told him he didn't want a political party. Ben said, I think we need one, and Rupert said, I don't think we do. I think we need a movement. Okay, so Ben has put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money into building reform. Advance. So many bloody names. And you know, the policy writers have spent hundreds and hundreds of their unpaid hours writing out policies, etc., and then blow me down. As soon as that 7th of February event came around, and it went off so perfectly well. Blow me, within a couple of days, Rupert announces that he's going to launch his own party. Now, you can understand from Ben's point of view, going, Oh, blimey, Rupert, I wish you'd have told me. You told me you wasn't going to do this, and now you've done it, and like we're back to square one. So how about we get together? We're all in this together. We all believe the same thing. We all want the same thing. Let's get together. No reply.
There is one other thing I want to talk about, and that is the policies between Advance and Restore. Okay. There's one particular policy that I am really concerned about.
Yep, go for it.
And it's actually against Ben Habib. Believe it or not, I think Rupert's got it absolutely spot on. The UK is emptied of a whole bunch of people who've left the country, who are patriots, who love the UK, and many of us have actually gone off and found love. And I've got married. Ben Habib's moratorium on indefinite leave to remain has a directly opposing statement in the policies on Restore. Yeah. Where I actually read the policy to my wife and she smiled. This is the one from Restore, okay? Yeah. And I said, what do you think about that? And she said, it feels like an invitation. Okay, so Rupert Lowe, for all this talk about him being an ethno-nat, actually the one with the ethno-nat policy was actually Ben. By locking everybody out, is actually giving the most xenophobic response possible. That
policy. Sorry, I've got to interrupt you there, Tony, because I've got to move on in a minute, mate. I've got so many people.
Yeah, I know.
Let me just tell you that policy was under review because when we spoke last time, I went back to Ben and we spoke about it internally within the college, and this is one of the things that I liked about Advance. People like yourself can come on, talk to a member of the college. We can then relay that back to the leader, and you actually, Tony, were having an influence on actual policy. Now you don't get that with many political parties.
No,
and I think that was a good thing. There was another point I was going to make, but it's completely gone out of my mind. Tony, thank you so much for your call, mate. I really appreciate it.
Reconsider leaving Advance, but if you do get to negotiate it, okay, if you do reconsider and you do have a chat with Ben, make sure that you are free to express any opinion you choose and never let political machinations get in the way of your free speech. I think if you can get Ben to agree to that, you've got every right to join Advance, Restore. I mean, I won't talk about the other party, but anyway, but what I mean, it's, if you've got freedom of speech, then you're in a free party. If you've had your freedom curtailed, you're not in a free party and you're right to leave. Anyway, love you loads. I'm going to carry on with work. Take care of yourself, mate. See you next time.
Cheers, mate. All the best to you, mate. Thank you so much. That was Tony. So many people tonight. As I said, there might be a bit of a wait. Just another email account. Good evening.
Good evening to you. It's Aoife. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to disagree with Tony because I think Tony is more to the left than he is to the right, just from what he was saying. Now, I'm married to a British soldier. I'm proud of it, and you've spoken with John before. Sorry.
Yep, can you hear me?
And we're proud of your family service. Yes, I can. We are also very proud of your family service and history in the British Army. So never forget that you come from good stock. You are missed in the UK, but I have decided, I've said to hubby, in 1 year, we're out of here. We are leaving the UK. I'm sorry, I can't see Rupert or anyone else being able to repair what has happened to the UK since the 60s. There's too much of a demographic change to be able to bring back any meaningful change. For that reason, I'm leaving.
Where do you intend to go? And by the way, thank you to your husband.
And I come from an international family, so this is not about... Sorry, Well, you have spoken with him before, and we want to say thank you to your family for their history of service.
Thank you very much. Where do you intend to
But
go?
I said we're also going to come out and join you in Benidorm. And I'm sorry, we are on a building site where we live is a building site. They are building very, very, very fast here. So it's very difficult to hear anything or to even speak.
No problem at all. Yeah, the audio is a bit dodgy.
Sorry,
but,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to have to let you go because the audio is absolutely terrible. But thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sorry the audio wasn't a little bit better. Let me just remove that one. Thank you very much for calling. Animal, you are up next. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to talk about because I watched the Candid with Lubna live stream last night. I was a little bit disappointed by it. I'm not going to lie. You know, I wanted to sort of dig into the whole repulsion towards the idea of an ethno-nationalist.
Can I just say, this is what it's about. I want people to come on tonight and disagree with me. We haven't got to argue. We haven't got to fall out. We can have a discussion. Fire away, mate. Tell me where I got it wrong.
So for me, an ethno-national is somebody who has, you know, who's born of England, who has deep ancestral ties to the land, right? And that for me is a clear distinction between being British and being a British citizen. That doesn't mean to say that we want to kick everybody out of the country. It means that there must be this distinction. Everyone else is playing the identity game. And this is our identity, and we've started playing it. We're British, we're from our country, we've got our flag, and we're proud, right? That is what it is to be an ethno-national to me. And I think that last night, I can't remember your friend's name, Richard, is it?
Richard, yeah.
He basically said, if you're an ethno-nationalist, you're a fucking racist twat. And I thought that was a bit strong, and especially when you've got Lubna next to him. Just quickly, Lubna, who believes that even she has an element of ethno-nationalism in her, and I didn't see enough pushback from Lubna about that situation, because she is very quick to bring it up with her followers in her chat.
Look, that's a brilliant comment, and I'm going to agree with every single word you said. The caveat to that is that when people talk about ethno-nationalism, and you're obviously very switched on. I'm not being patronising when I say that, but you clearly know what you're talking about. Let me ask you a question, mate. If you went out into the local high street on a Saturday afternoon, and if you asked 100 of the first 100 people that walked past, if you asked them the question, what do you think ethno-nationalism is? What do you think their answer would be?
Well, I probably know what their answer would be, but what I'm trying to say is that isn't going to be helped by having the thumbnail last night being "Restore Britain" or "Restore Racism." That is inflammatory, I think. You know, she's entitled. She's entitled to do whatever she wants with her thumbnails and everything like that. But she has to understand that what she is contributing to, especially when she has Richard on there with no kind of pushback at all, that rubbed me up a little bit the wrong way. And look, I think we talk a lot about the extremism on the right. The young man, your first caller, he said that he wanted to unify the right, but you also want to dismantle them because you believe that an ethno-national is a racist. Well, it's not going to work, is it? Because extremism has begun with the left. They are the people that started this, and they go to the real extreme. Their extremes are borders, not just, oh, let's have free open borders, but they think that borders are fascist, right? They believe it's fascist. They believe capitalism is the driver of climate change, and that has to be dismantled as well. They believe that no police, no prisons, no private property ownership, including your children. That is how extreme the left get, and they never talk about it. We never talk about it, but do you know what? They don't ostracize them. They don't ostracize them from their community because they don't define them. And we shouldn't let our extremists define us, right? Because I've got to tell you, the only people that think that Advance UK are moderate are you guys, because everybody else left of Advance, they don't think you're moderate, right? I've had Lubna talk about a woman that she spoke to who thinks that Reform are extreme, right? Everybody is completely confused about what is going to happen. So there will be conflict. What do you think is going to happen if Advance start deporting people over whether Restore start deporting people? People are going to take to the streets and there will be conflict. And it's because DEI has discriminated against white people. There's been two-tier police system, an unfair society, which is a core British value, that we are all equal in front of the law. And that has been completely eroded. And we are in a time of extremism and extremity. And this is unfortunately the reality that we find ourselves in. Now, go on.
No, I was going to say, look, the explanation that you've just given, I think there is absolutely brilliant, right? Because that is really the correct term for ethno-nationalism. The problem is that you know what it really means, but there's a lot of people out there. Let me give you a couple of examples, and I'm not trying to be clever now, but I had to get these up earlier on, right? Can you see the screen okay, yeah?
If you reference them, I've been paying attention to Lubna and everything, so I'll probably understand it.
I'm gonna throw a message up now that is one of about 100 that I've been sent over the last 24 hours. This is to young Baraka. It says, "You are black. Blacks can't be British. You belong in a mud hut in Africa." Now, that is someone else's version of ethno-nationalism. Your version is what I said last night is I'm a passive ethno-nationalism. You've just described to me passive ethno-nationalism. You want
absolutely.
Ethno-nationalism. Okay, so we agree on that. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that
Go on.
I think the end of that is despicable, okay? And that is what we need to be calling out. We need to say, look, that's, there is parts of that we believe ring true, but we are not on board with how you are characterizing people. That's not what we're going to be doing. We don't have to be defined by these guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, so I think, look, if people in general, if those 100 fictional people that I spoke about a minute ago was to walk past you and you asked them what they thought of ethno-nationalism or what ethno-nationalism meant, if you had the chance to explain it to them the way you just explained it, it would make sense to them. The problem is that to win a general election, this has been my point all along, my friend, right, is that to win a general election, you've got to talk to people, and I'm going to use the word, it's a horrible word to say, but a lot of them are just plain thick.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. You don't. I came off of watching a Talk TV thing where a woman was saying that she supported the Green Party and she voted for the Green Party, and then she said, "Oh yeah, Keir Starmer's letting in all them illegals." People don't know what the hell they're talking about out there, right?
Absolutely.
And that I think that is our collective failure actually as a society. That doesn't come down to party politics at all. But if I can move on to advance, because I think there's been a little bit of I think there's been a little bit of a problem with between Ben and Rupert that has kind of forced all of this, and I think that unfortunately, in my opinion, Ben forcing engagement in front of an audience with Rupert, right, I think has been a big part of the problem, because I don't think Rupert wants to engage with him publicly when something could have been made that he's made public could have been private. Also, I want to pull up. Can I just go on? Yeah, go on.
I've got to bring up points as we go, otherwise I forget.
Yeah, sorry. Right. Go on.
I would agree. Okay, so to the world last week, I think Ben probably made a bit of an error by, let's just say, airing dirty washing in public, right? It wouldn't have been my advice to Ben if he'd have asked me. Not that he did, but if he'd have asked me, I would have said probably not the best idea. Now, Ben has been coming under a hell of a lot of pressure. And when I say a lot of pressure, people don't understand the sort of pressure that Ben has been coming under. This is like nervous breakdown sort of level pressure. To engage with Rupert, to do it in private, etc., etc. People are saying, when are you going to merge? Are you going to merge? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Now, I have seen the emails from Ben to Rupert in private. They've been out together and had dinner. And I'm afraid to say that, again, unless Ben has been lying to me, and I don't believe that Ben would lie to me, right? And I've seen the emails, Rupert has simply not responded. Now, that forces Ben into a position of telling the world, because his own 40,000 members are saying to Ben, well, Ben, when are we merging?
Yeah. But, is that not it? It's already been 2 weeks now, right? Isn't it a bit of a case of like,
Mate,
isn't it a bit? Yeah, no. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying it's only been 2 weeks for Ben to be getting so irate about it. It's like, brother, chill,
No, it's not. Like, no. Again, I've got to stop you. This is where.
Go on.
To be fair, you don't know this stuff, and I'm not. I don't.
No, since the beginning of the party, since the creation of Restore.
This has been going on for months and months and months with Ben and Rupert, and as I said to the previous caller, right? I think it was a previous caller, is that Rupert told Ben he wasn't going to start a party. if Rupert had have said, "Sit tight, Ben. In a few weeks, a few months, we'll be starting a party," Ben would have gone, "Lovely."
Yeah. Listen,
Right.
I've got something to say about that actually, because just one more thing I've got to say about Ben is when he said he has to remove the hand of friendship, not remove the hand of a partnership or a merger, but remove the hand of friendship. That is a serious thing to say, right? And that's I think that was monumental for people, and I think that was probably a little bit unnecessary. But Restore, in my opinion, were born from the inquiry into the rape gang, something which I don't think is sort of brought up enough, especially in last night's live stream, what the origins of this party was all about. And Rupert has gone through that kind of process. And by the way, we're all angry about the rape gangs. I have researched into it, and the more I delved into it, the more I was drinking, because I couldn't deal with it. And I had to end up, stopping drinking and stopping researching into it. Yeah. Everybody is furious about this thing. Then Rupert wants to gut the establishment, and he wants to get those people that are complicit, right? Either in the cover-up or complicit in the actual abuse of children itself. And we want to nail them. Personally, I want to nail their lips to the board, but, we're going to have to do things the proper way, aren't we? But that is how that was all born out of. And anyone who is voting for left-wing or Reform or the Greens, right? That is a vote for the cover-up, the continued cover-up for this nonsense. And I think this is a part of the major reason why people are angry, why Rupert's movement has captured so many people, because I think a lot of us have still got that fresh in our minds, and we don't think it goes anywhere if it's taken on by anyone left of Advance. So I think Ben has done a brilliant job advocating for victims as well. I've listened to Ben in the past, and I think he's been brilliant on that front. But I want to just quickly say that this is happening all over Europe as well, right? The right are being suppressed all over Europe. It's happening in Germany, it's happening in Spain, it's happening in France, right? This is not a normal thing. There are communists everywhere, right? There is a Spanish PEM, right? A member of European Parliament called Irene Montero, who made her speech, and she actively says, I want to replace you. I want to replace right-wingers. I want to replace fascists. I want to replace racists. And guess what? They are the ones that determine who racists are, not us. We don't go, it's by the way, it's them over there, because it would be you and it would be me.
Yep. Mate, listen, you've said very little that, in fact, you haven't said anything that I really disagree with. The only points that I've really needed to pull you up on are things that about things that you didn't know, because you wouldn't know. For example, you wouldn't know that I've seen the emails between Ben and Rupert, and I know that the efforts that Ben has gone to try and pull everyone together, and he's basically been, you've only got to look at some of the comments in the chat. Ben wanted his $5,000 back to go and buy a second-hand Ford Cortina, and stuff like this. There are people out there, whether we like it or not, and we have to recognise this, there are people out there that don't want Ben just because of the colour of his skin.
I don't think. Listen. Let me just add something to that. I think it is a bit more nuanced than that. I think that anybody who's got a problem with the rape gangs, and when you look at it, right, optically, I'm not saying any thought goes into this, but people might have a problem with the optics of having Ben, who I don't associate in any way with this thing, right? It's not the way I think, but I think for a lot of people, the optics of having a Pakistani man as Prime Minister looks bad. When we had India saying, the son of India, Rishi Sunak, has gotten into the highest level of governance. It's kind of an embarrassment for people, I think, in that regard. I don't think it's just about skin color. I think there are nuances to it.
I'm playing devil's advocate now, so bear with me. You've just called Ben a Pakistani man, yet some people on our side are calling someone that's half Pakistani and half English. They cannot be English. So what I'm saying is Ben is not a Pakistani man. He's half English, half Pakistani.
Yeah, British Pakistani.
He's a British, a proper British Pakistani. It's not. He wasn't born here to Pakistani parents. His mum is English.
I understand that. I understand that absolutely. Because I'm saying that I'm not the one that thinks like this. There are people, like you said, there are people out there that could, put in their exactly. There are people that don't know what's going on. There are people that can't even identify that the Green Party are the people that are letting in the illegals. So there are obviously going to be people that are more concerned about the optics of a situation rather than delve further into it. But that's not to say that there isn't that sliding scale of racism that goes all the way to the end, and where people consider him as just a brown person. I think that's a shame.
Some of the stuff that I've seen this week and that I've been privy to that has been sent to Ben has been sent to Advance HQ. some of the stuff that I've read this week has been unbelievable. I mean, really unbelievable. Not just, you know, honestly, I couldn't even tell you what they are. I mean, I've got a few bits to put up on the screen tonight, but trust me when I say the worst stuff I could not show. I could not show it.
I agree with you. You know, that stuff is just repulsive, and that's what I'm trying to say to you is that we have to look at the extreme time that we live in, and unfortunately, you know, we have to not be defined by people that are going off of the edge of the extreme sides, right?
You're right about what you said earlier on. I'll say this before I let you go because I've got to move on. Look, this division, as you said, it's been caused after years of neglect for the indigenous population. People being called racist when they're not. And it's all down to the left. This is on the left. All of this. This is on the left.
Look, I had a little bit of a problem with your friend Richard last night because of the way he spoke about younger people and because like someone had Batman in the background and, you know, real men and masculinity and stuff like that. And I think it's a bit rich for somebody of that age to be talking about the world that he created for young people to be born into. It's not anybody's fault what their interests lie in. I think that's disgusting way to talk to people.
Yeah, look, as I said earlier on, that I don't speak for Richard. Richard doesn't speak for me. I love Richard. I think he's, you know, I've known him for a while. He's so passionate. He's too passionate. Put it this way: if he was a football fan, he'd be a bloody football hooligan, right? That, you know, that's the sort of passion that he has inside him. You know, he wants to get out there, and sometimes I think, you know, his mouth can work a little bit faster than his mind. And he's very, very passionate. Sometimes I'll speak to Richard the day after and I say, Rich, mate, you know, you're not doing yourself any favours sometimes. Have a little think before you say and maybe rephrase it a little bit better.
Yeah, I thought he was strong. But listen, I support Lubna. I think normally she's brilliant and I expected pushback from her last night and I just don't think it came and I'm a little bit annoyed about it. And I support you. And if Ben and Rupert can sort it out, I support Ben as well. I'm just on the side that wins. But I want to, if we're losing already, and I think that if we're going to lose, I want to lose, you know, on the right party and you know, doing the right thing, you know.
Let's hope we can get to that point, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. Brilliant call.
Thank you, Paul.
Brilliant.
Cheers,
really
mate.
Enjoyed that. Thank you very much, mate. All the best.
All the best.
Right, let's bring in, as I say, this is going to be a wait for some people tonight. Let's bring in Victoria. Victoria, good evening. How are you?
Hello, Paul. I am very good, thank you. Are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm waiting for the abuse tonight, so, you know, feel free.
I can throw some of that if you want. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, I just wanted to say this, we need to realize that the right is a broad spectrum and we're going to have to all accept the full spectrum of the right to get in. And then that's when we should be deciding on what's going too far, what's ethno-nat, what's this, that and the other. And I'll give you an example from the Bible. Jesus said when he sent the 72 out, a couple of them, I don't know whether it was when he sent the 72 or whether it was when he sent the 12 disciples, but two of them came back and said, Lord, we saw two people casting out demons yesterday, but in your name, but they weren't part of our group, so we told them not to. And Jesus rebuked them and said, no, if he is for us, then he cannot be against us. Don't rebuke them. They're on our side. And I think there's a lesson for our side that has to be learned by that. We don't have to all agree. There are going to be some people where restore, like for me, restore is too far. If it's going to be like going down the ethno-nat route.
Victoria, can I just say we don't really know yet, do we? This is the thing. People
well, this is it. This is what I'm saying. So I don't understand why we're having these conversations now. What we should be doing is restore should be building its base. Advance should be building its base. UKIP, who all the followers of them, they should still be building their base. And we will all. There was a coalition. Obviously, the only coalition government we've ever had was the shittest one possible, with the Conservatives and the Lib Dems. But when you look at where the world was politically, then they made that thing. Well, we could do that in the future, but that's in 3 years' time. What we need to be focusing on, everybody, every party on the right needs to be focusing on pulling in the 20 million people that have nothing to do with politics, that don't even know that politics affects them, that they've even got a choice. We need to be reaching some of them. Now, when some of those people's eyes are open, they're going to look around and think, some of them are going to think, oh, actually, yeah, why was I barged off my high street by 3 women in a hijab who didn't even look at me and say, excuse me, when I moved off the pavement and said sorry? And when their eyes are open, that actually they don't have to live like that. They are I wouldn't. I mean, I want hijab banned because I think it's absolutely ludicrous that anybody is allowed to. What
Yeah.
is the point in all the camera recognition nonsense
Yeah.
everywhere if people are allowed to just
To cover
completely
up.
disguise themselves?
Yeah.
Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, some people won't have even noticed that these things are happening and just accept them as part of society. 20 million people or something didn't vote in the last general election, and they're the people that the right need to gather under one blanket. Like Jesus said, if they're not for me, if they're not against me, then they're for me. Leave them alone. So yes, we might think the ethno-nats are racist and they're going too far, and when the time comes, we'll say, well, we're not okay with that, and we'll uh work out those intricacies at the time.
Yeah.
But at the time, at right now where we are, it's a clear line between left and right, and the right in all its spectrum needs to gather together, needs to grab as many that are fighting for us and not against us, in whichever capacity that is, in whatever beliefs they have. And I agree with what your last caller said, as in the younger generation. My son is 27. I'm one of them who would be, when they start saying, well, the communities knew that, when you think about the reality of those estates. I lived around those estates. I grew up in Manchester, and they were Pakistani estates. And if you were white, you didn't go in there. You were told not to walk down those streets. You were told not to go through there because of what could happen. But nobody stepped in. And I've moved to Wales since then, and I had a discussion with a girl that I work with, and she was saying, well, all religions can be extreme. And I said, you grew up in a white working class council estate. Are you telling me that if all of your mum's friends, when they were all around, saw a little Asian girls being taken into a specific house, and grown white men all going in that house, that somebody wouldn't have raised the alarm?
Yeah.
That somebody
Yeah, no,
wouldn't
I
have
agree.
done it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So
Victoria,
yeah,
sorry, Victoria, I've got to move on, honey, because I've got so many people waiting in the back there.
Okay.
And thank you so much for coming on. Great points. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for coming on. Let's move on to Agent Serco, who has been waiting a fair while. Agent Serco, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. I've got a little bit of feedback there, I'm afraid.
Oh, hang on a minute.
If you can, let me come back to you, mate. If you can sort that feedback out. Ocean Pier, good evening.
Hi, Paul.
How are you?
I'm all right. Seems like you need a bit of a hug.
No, I'm all right. I don't mind. I like a bit of back and forth. Honestly, I do. You know, look.
No, I mean with your decision stepping down and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I'm disappointed, you know, to be stepping away. I loved, you know, the day-to-day interaction and, you know, just trying to be useful. But to be honest with you, the biggest thing, apart from my family, of course, the biggest thing that gives me pleasure really is engaging with the viewers, you know, whether they like me or whether they don't. I enjoy it. It's good fun. And I think sometimes you need to give people an outlet to go off on. I mean, if someone hating on me and giving me a load of grief stops them from going out and doing something stupid, then good.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I've got a few points to make and I've got some questions because obviously I support you and I'm a member of Advance, but I'm not a sycophant either and I don't mind pushing. So my first thing isn't why I called, but just for people that are caught up on ethno-nationalism. My heritage goes back to pre-Neolithic times. So you're talking thousands of years before Stonehenge was, you know, even an idea. And primarily we came from Turkey, Spain, Denmark, and our skin was dark and our hair was dark. We were not white. That is our ancestral heritage. So when people keep saying, if you haven't got white skin, then you're not English or you're not part of this country, that is false. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I wanted to ask you a question because obviously when the ethno-nat stuff started being aired for me was when you and Richard had that conversation when Restore had newly, you know, announced that they were going to be a party. And part of me wonders whether ethno-nats have latched on to Restore because Rupert was so strong about immigration and deporting, as opposed to actually ethno-nats being a part of the party. What do you think about that? I can't hear you, Paul.
There you go. Sorry about that. I think it's a great question, and it's one I'm going to really enjoy answering. I think you're absolutely right. I want to use the term, instead of using the term ethno-nats, because look, as the caller earlier on explained, you don't have to be a racist to be an ethno-nationalist. So we're talking about the hardliners. I prefer to use the term real hardliners, the people that are saying things like, you know, the things that I posted up earlier on. Those people have latched on, I believe, because, you know, it's it's a home for them. It's somewhere to go with a bit of a realistic chance of getting a bit of a success. I don't believe that it's the people within the party, but there have been points of concern, and I'm going to point one out now. So your question is excellent, and it's a very mute question that gives me the chance to show something earlier on that, let me just get rid of that message. Restore Britain does not want to work with lefties. Sorry, right, so we're lefties. Righty-o. Let me just get rid of that. Thank you, MRL. Appreciate you becoming a member. Let me show you something that was allegedly, and I say allegedly because I didn't see it firsthand, but I'm assured, absolutely assured, that this was from Carl Benjamin's Twitter feed.
That's not good.
Now, if this is wrong, if this is a parody account, if it's a fake account, Carl, my sincere apologies, but I've checked this and people in the know tell me this was definitely on your X page and you later removed it. If that's wrong, I will be happy to apologise and put that right in a future video. But I was reliably informed that this was on Carl Benjamin's page. Carl is very close, I believe, to Rupert, and he's in the inner circle. If anyone out there that support Rupert and you want Rupert to do well, I want to ask you guys watching this right now, do you think this is a good look? Do you think that this is an image that will help Rupert win a general election? Only you can answer that question. My view on this picture is that no, it won't help Rupert. It will be detrimental to the cause, our cause, right? And Rupert should be pulling people like Carl, reining them in and saying, whoa, this is too far. You can't be posting stuff like that because it is not going to do us any favours. And I don't think that sort of, Carl's a very educated person, but I wouldn't call that an educated post. I would call that a flex post. Someone saying, this is the way we're going to do it. You know, the soldiers are here. This is the way it's going to happen. Sorry, Carl, that's not the way it's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people that will oppose that. And all you're doing is building the opposition by posting stuff like that. You're not helping yourself. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not privy to what goes on. A lot of us aren't behind closed doors. But I did wonder whether people with those ideas are just right now hijacking Restore, and that will change over the time, because obviously he spread his net wide because of some of the things that he said that he was going to do. And the reason I went into my profession many years ago was because I am a survivor of child SA and extreme trauma. And so I can understand why Rupert might become radicalized after being a part of that inquiry and reading and watching the things that young white women have been through. Yeah, and when I say radicalized, I don't mean that he's become a racist, but that he's come out so hard.
It's anger.
Yeah,
anger.
hard
anger.
and strong.
We're all angry. We're all angry, right?
Exactly.
This is what I've been saying. This is what people are not getting about me at the moment. I mean, I've had 500 people unsubscribe to me this week because they're just not listening, right? It's that I want Rupert to succeed.
Yes, I know.
He's not going to succeed when his lieutenants are posting things like that on X.
Well, I think he needs to be more aware of the people around him, if that is the case.
And this is another problem. Sorry, cutting across you. This is another problem that I've got to be straight with my audience with. I don't believe that Rupert doesn't see these posts.
Well, I don't know that.
I don't believe that Rupert is not seeing some of these posts. And if he is and he's not saying anything, he's digging his own political grave, and that will be...
Well, hang on a minute. Let me challenge you on that. If he is seeing the posts and he's not saying anything, it doesn't necessarily mean he agrees with it. We don't know exactly where his thoughts are.
It doesn't mean he says that he agrees with it, but he should be pulling his lieutenants one side and saying, that's not a good look.
I agree. I mean, like I said, I've been a member of Advance when it first started, and I'd found my first political home since Tony Blair times, and it felt amazing to find somebody like Ben. And the observation I've made about Ben, I'm not going to criticize him because he's got a lot of pressure. You know, he's one man trying to make a massive change in our country. Is I felt like when he went, you know, publicly, you know, kind of calling Rupert out, that it was really out of character. And it made me wonder why he would do something so out of character. And, you know, I think you've kind of explained that by the pressure that perhaps he's under. And that's why I agree with you actually leaving the college, Paul, because I feel like there needs to be a middle ground that everybody can come to. And that is to, you know, unite everybody, get rid of the identity side of stuff. It doesn't matter, you know, the people that we don't want in our country are people that are here illegally, people that are here from foreign countries that have committed crime, and people that adhere to ideologies that go against our British culture and our beliefs. That's it. I don't care about anybody else that's from abroad. If they're, you know, participating in the country and they believe in our values, I'm not for anything more than that. And I think realistically, even though Ben has been more of a diplomat about creating policies like banning the burqa and not the burqa. Anyway, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and halal, to try and step aside from the civil war situation, that's still going to happen, because you can create a policy that bans things, but it's how do you enforce that?
Yeah.
And it's when you start to enforce that we're going to get trouble. So
Yeah.
we've got to brace ourselves for trouble either way. Obviously, we want to minimize the trouble, which I feel like is what Ben has done by coming in and being more diplomatic. But I do feel Rupert is coming off the back of being in that inquiry and being like, this
That's a
can't
really
go
good
on.
point. Do you know what? That is a really, really good point, that he may be traumatized by the things
Yeah.
that he's, you know, and
You
I
would
go
be
along with that.
radicalised.
Yeah, you would be
And it was-
traumatized badly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're seeing all of the changes, you know, the inequality in policing,
Yeah.
you know, the overrepresentation of Muslims in politics compared to their, you know, overall population. We know that that's happening, and we know it's happening at our expense. But I do think stepping away from the college, even though it may have been a painful decision, I feel like there needs to be a middle ground that can unite, restore, and advance independently.
That's still my that is still my aim. I plan on talking to Nick Tanconi as soon as I can. It's still my plan. It's still my aim, and I'll continue to do my best. I'm going to move on because I've got loads of people waiting.
Thanks for having me on, Paul.
Always a
Keep doing the
pleasure.
good work.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Right, let me just get through. I'm sorry, guys. I've not really been able to get in the chat tonight because dealing with the callers and reading the chat is very difficult. I've got some supers to get through as well. Mandy says, has Rupert really got the time to see these posts? Maybe some of his team have, and maybe highlighted some to him. Who knows? The thing is, Mandy, is that particular post I showed you a minute ago is coming from someone who I believe is part of Rupert's team. And that, Mandy, is the problem. For me, you know, if they're going to succeed, they need to be a bit more clever than that. If you're going to show your hand to that degree to the public, they got a problem. And that is my sincere belief. Kelly rightly says, Ben is allowed to feel let down and disappointed too. He's human. He is indeed, and he's a very nice human being as well. Right, let's try Agent Serco again. Can you hear me? Is that any better?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. We still got a bit of feedback, but go for it.
Well, probably because I'm in Poland. Right, the problem is, Paul, I'm going to do a disagreement with you.
Go on.
First of all, I'm not a wanker, according to Lubna, because I watched it last night. I'm not a racist. I'm not an ethno-nationalist. I am certainly not somebody that wants to go and buy a pair of jackboots, not a size 15s.
So why did she call you a wanker?
Well, she said everybody who's faceless on their profile pictures, because I put it down a message saying I'm tired of all the smear again, because it's what was happening last night was another smearing thing. If you look at what's happening at the moment, all everybody's doing is attack, smear. I'm tired of it.
Yeah,
So
me
I'll
too.
go back again to the ethno-nationalist bullshit. I talked to you the other night about this. First of all, British is one thing, English is an ethnicity.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
let's get that. So let's do I'm going to do a little bit of history here, because what people don't understand is the power of identity and ethnicity. Poland. In 1798, Poland was taken over by Russia, Germany, and the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, and it disappeared. In 1812, Napoleon said to them, hey, I'll help you out. And that's why we got the Duchy of Warsaw. That's why you got statues of Napoleon in Poland, because they class him as a hero, unlike us who see him as a rather nasty little horrible little man that ate snails. Then in 1918, at the end of World War I, Poland reappeared. So it had disappeared for over 130 years. Do you know what it still had when it came back? Even though it was 200 miles west of where it was, and half the size of what it was, because most of what Ukraine is today used to be the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, is it still had its identity, it still had its culture, it still had its nationality. So why do you think the Poles are so? What Tommy couldn't understand and saw the power and when the Poles go out on their national day, is because they remember who they are, because they had it taken away from them for over 130 years.
Yeah. We haven't had that.
We haven't had that, but we have had that. Paul, we've had it for the last fucking.
We've had it for the last 20, 30 years. But we've not had it in our recent history.
We were told we're bad people. We're the horrible people. We're evil people. We're this, that,
colonialists.
They attack our statues like Winston Churchill the other day.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm not being funny. You want to do unity? You can't do unity with people like Richard. I'm sorry, because Richard really peed me off last night to the point where, so what, you served? I served for 10 years as well. Doesn't give me the right to go around and call people what you're an ethno-nationalist if you don't agree with me. You're a racist if you don't agree with me. You don't agree with me, you don't agree with me.
Can I just stop you for a sec? Let me just stop you for a sec, because I need to cut when you make points, I need to come back and counter those points.
I'll get a bit passionate.
No, it's no problem. It's good, but it's good to have a conversation rather than it being one way. The problem is with the term ethno-nationalism, I don't know how long you've been watching tonight, quite a while, because I know you've been waiting, but the problem with the term ethno-nationalism is not necessarily its actual dictionary definition.
Shall I tell you what it is, Paul?
Hold on.
Everyone's getting this wrong.
It's people's perception of what it means.
No, we got called racist for how long? Now we don't care if we get called racist.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I'm not disagreeing.
White supremacists.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit about that. So now they call us ethno-nationalists. And if you really want to know what an ethno-nationalist is, go and look up the story of Voena, 1943, when the OUN, UPA, and former members of the Golden Lions of Galicia, or the 14th SS Regiment, went into what was known as Western Poland and massacred over 100,000 Poles.
Yeah.
Those same ethno-nationalists are now doing it again, and they've been doing it since 2013. We had it's only been 4 years of war. No, it's been 12 years of war.
Let me ask you a question. Because, I'm taking on board everything you're saying, but I want to ask you a question, because there'll probably be people out there that would like to ask this as well. Do you think that the rhetoric that is doing the rounds, and we all know what we mean by the rhetoric doing the rounds, do you think that is advantageous to win the next general election or potentially damaging?
It's damaging because it's being used as a weapon against us.
Yeah.
Because they're making us fight amongst ourselves by using this stupid term ethno-nationalist when nobody knows what the meaning of it is.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying, Agent. This is what I'm saying. This is why posts like this don't fucking help.
That is either racist or a very bad joke.
Well, I would say it's probably a joke, but people won't take it that way. And look, I get a joke. Nobody gets a joke better than me, mate. But we're trying to win a general election here. You're not going to win a general election on the back of jokes.
3 years, but the problem being here, Paul, and I'm going to be honest with you, we live in a time of instant messaging, instant information.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
That is the biggest hurdle we have. We have to master the use of how to use the internet, how to use instant messaging, how to use social media, and use it as the part of the tools. I want one other thing before I'll let you get on to somebody else, because I don't want to hold your time.
No, you're right, mate. Go on.
With Ben Habib. I couldn't vote for Ben Habib, not because he's Paki or this, that, and the other, or he's British. No. Do you know why I can't? Because I don't see him as a leader.
That's fine. That's fine. I can accept that.
I feel that. Whereas when I saw what Rupert Lowe did, right, and Rupert Lowe wasn't going to make a party, and he kept saying he wasn't going to make a party, and then he came out and said the reason why he's making Restore is because of what happened with the rape gang inquiry. That's what made him choose to make the party. If people open their ears and listen to that, instead of going, "Oh, he's made a party," when Richard going off, "Oh, he's a traitor," he's this. No, I'm tired of people like Richard. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I don't know who's calling me there on my Spanish number, but
Sorry, that's all right. We get those.
Um,
No, but I know his heart's in the right place, okay? But he cannot go around calling everybody names. He's no different to the very people he's trying to go against, like the left or right. Because I don't even do left or right.
yeah.
It's either honest or dishonest, or evil or good, right? Because that's what it is. Somebody who wants to legalize heroin, prostitution, and everything else is evil in my book.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I've just been distracted by my other phone there. I don't know who the hell that was.
Richard really annoyed me. Lubna really annoyed me. And no, Paul, I can't buy a pair of Jack boots at size 15 because that was the last sentence you said before you got off.
Well, it depends on what message I was responding to, doesn't it?
You were talking about when you were all having a laugh and joke. Okay, it was a laugh and a joke, yeah. Because that's when you were talking about racists and everything else and ethno-nats and at the end of the thing, and you said, well, if you don't do this, blah blah, or don't like whatever it was, you said you could go and buy a pair of Jack boots.
Well, I don't remember. Was that this afternoon? Or?
You'd have to watch it at the back end. It's at the very end of the thing because I watched it right through last night. But like I said, I agree. What the other problem I've got to say as well is you were too close to Advance to be non-biased.
Well, that's why I've pulled out.
Yeah, I know, and I appreciate that. I understand that, and I think it's a good thing. I'm not really au fait about this college stuff. I don't really. I want somebody who's going to be a leader, and we don't need all different streams. We need one person at the head of the ship. We need one person who's going to be strong.
What happens if that one person... Sorry, so let me say this. What happens if that one person does something that is detrimental, properly detrimental? What happens? You've got to be, even as a leader, you have to be accountable.
Yeah, you will be accountable. You'll be accountable to the courts of laws or whatever. But what I'm just saying is we just need for the time being to get through this and to take everything back, to dismantle this multiculturalism, because that's the ethnic cleansing that's been going on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
A very strong word there, ethnic cleansing, because that's what's been happening.
Listen, it's a term I've used myself in the past.
Because that's what they've been doing. They've been ethnic cleansing us. They've been saying get mixed marriage.
Yeah, no, I get that.
They're trying to take out the English.
Yeah. Look, again, I'm not going to disagree with what you said. The problem is that, like I said, if we're going to win the next general election, the rhetoric has to be right. It has to be firm. It has to be strong. Well, we might not. Look, I said in my video earlier on, we got 3 years. But honestly, do you really see Starmer? Listen, May is going to be a big month because if Labour get wiped out again.
How hard is it to get rid of a Labour leader?
Well, this one's proving tough.
Yeah. How hard was Gordon Brown trying to get rid of Tony Blair?
Yeah. They're not easy. They're not easy to get rid of. But I think
it took him over 5 years.
Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, mate, thank you so much for the call. I'm only moving on because I've got so many people waiting.
Thank you, Paul.
But I'm glad you got that off your chest. And
no Jack boots, all right? So
no worries, mate. All the best. Take care. All the best. Bye bye. Bye bye. Let me read out one or two supers because they've been sitting there for ages. Hartford, Paul, I will always have your back, mate. I love you like a dad. Regards, Linford. Linford Day is such a lovely thing to say. Thank you so much. Debbie, good decision, Paul. I understand your stance. Thank you, Debbie. God, I had a pasta earlier on and it's repeating on me. Garlic and chili. KC Chad TV, Paul, love your lives, always pushing a positive motive. You're doing a great service. Unite the right. Always happy to stand by your opinion, mate. Thank you very much. And I also would say to anyone out there that disagrees with me, I never ever try and deliberately wind people up or be argumentative. I'm always willing to listen to other people's opinions. Rebellious J, Churchill statue defaced, is the nail in the coffin. Revolution is near. I'm getting ready. Love you, Paul. Thank you, Rebellious J. And that is a picture that I put up earlier on that made me feel physically sick. Those bastards that did that. I would put those people in jail for 10 years. How dare they? How dare they? Lauren, how do I join, Paul? I'm desperate to speak. Follow the link in the chat. I'll pop it in the chat now, Lauren. Nina, good evening, Nina. Like that lady, after today's news with the Green Party, I told my husband 2 years we are leaving. Had enough now. Great program. Thank you, Nina. Charlie, Paul, you are fantastic. Keep up the work. Charlie, thank you so much. Matt Carney, social cycle, positive male, science reasoning, negative male, tyrannical industrial war, positive female, tolerance, desire for peace, negative female, DEI, cancel culture, then back to positive male. That's some message, Matt, that's going to take a little bit of deciphering. Thank you very much. Champagne monologues. We need all the big names to unite. Yep. Together they would be unstoppable. Yep. Those that don't unite are to blame for the downfall of the country they all say they love so much. I 100% agree with every single word of that message. Jack, UKIP Advance, Restore and Reform, please sort this out. And thank you, June, for the super sticker. Julie, piss off waiting, then lost the stream. Pissed off. Sorry, Julie, if you pop back in, I will get around to you, hun. Thank you so much for that. Joe is up next. Joe, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Paul. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Okay, so I'll have to remove you, Joe. Unfortunately, I'll come back to you in a minute. Jenny, can you hear me?
Oh, good. Yes, I can.
Jenny, you are up next, Jenny.
Oh, I need to get rid of my camera. There we are. That's better.
Don't worry. You're not on screen anyway. I've just got you on voice.
Oh, all right. Gosh, some of the people you've had on have got such clear thought processes and have obviously thought very, very much about what's going on.
Can you just not touch your mic for us, because that is making a horrible noise.
Sorry.
That's all right. Carry on. Yeah.
I was going to just, in relation to you resigning and whatever this morning, really, I was only going to talk about that. But one of the people made such a brilliant comment, and they're so right about there are commies everywhere, I think was the comment they said. And it's frightening because they seemed all over the world, they still seem to be on trying to keep on the ascendance, and they are literally, as I think the caller said, getting rid of all the right wings, or trying to get rid of them. Look what happened to the ADF and Marine Le Pen, and these people in France and that. So, but I was thinking about you. You're probably trying too hard to amalgamate everybody. I don't think that's a wrong thing, because there is only one way, and the right wing lot are going to have to give themselves a biff on the head and actually get on with the job of getting rid of what's happening in this country. And there's no reason why they can't all get on and do it, because the bits that need doing are common to everybody. But as far as you're concerned, actually, probably what you're doing is going to do you a favor, because I've seen you go, I've watched you for a little while now. It was most interesting to see somebody so widespread, with obviously a lot of people, very wealthy people, very poor people, and you never show any difference. You're very right down the middle, and you treat everybody exactly the same. I've listened to you with some of your callers. You should concentrate on doing your bit to try and stop the don't knowers, because as you said to one of the callers there, there's so many people who actually haven't got a clue what's going on, and you could act to inform everybody of all the ideas that are coming from, well, the three main right-wing sides anyway. I mean, even Reform have some good sides. You know, I used to follow Reform. I worked for Nigel's Brexit Party people. But I'm sorry, I really don't think he's got far too many Tories, and the Naheem Zahawi or whatever was the final straw for me, because the vaccine situation is another one that doesn't bear thinking about. So if you concentrated on trying to help people understand, I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm only giving you an idea, but maybe there are a lot of people who you could actually, you know, guide into, well, this is what that means. That's what that means. And you need to think about it. The one thing Tusi says, which is amazing, he says political parties have to prove what they can and will do. And you shouldn't join a political party until near the end at the election point where you can see what's being offered. It's up to them to work for us, because at the end of the day, we appoint them. And I thought it's brilliant. He said it several times.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a very good point. And he's probably right in that respect. And look, Jenny, I appreciate that. And that is one of the reasons that I decided to resign, not because I didn't believe in Ben.
No, he's a great man. I like him.
I love Ben. I love Ben to bits. He's such a good guy. And
perhaps he's too good. Perhaps he's too good.
Maybe he is too good. Maybe he is too good. I defy anyone to meet Ben and sit with him for half an hour and not walk away and say, wow, what a nice guy, right? So, you know, I'm devastated to be leaving Ben and the team and the college behind. But I want to serve my viewers. I want to serve them as honestly as I can. I want to do these lives. People get to come on. They can say pretty much whatever they like. If they want to come on and have a dig at me, I'll take it on the chin. Right? I'm not going to hide from no one, right? But I will be telling everyone everything that I know, everything that I can find out, and as long as it's for the good of the country, I'll speak out about it. That's the way forward for me, and I'll make my mind up, like you just said. When the time comes, that's the time now when I'll make my mind up. Jenny, I'm going to move on. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Keep going, and I love your dog. I love you,
Jenny. Thank you. I love him too. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Let's bring in, let's have a little look. I'm afraid, Julie's waiting. Let's bring Julie on. I've just seen you, Julie. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
How are you doing, darling, tonight?
I'm all right. Sorry about that. You know, 199, I was getting frustrated.
You was getting frustrated waiting. I'll tell you what, Julie.
No, not waiting. My mic keeps falling out. I keep
your
to
mic.
go to the loo, everything.
Okay. Your audio's not so great tonight, but I'll be quiet and you crack on with what you want to say.
Right, is it better? I've just unplugged my...
Yeah, that's a bit better. Go on, carry on.
Right. Paul, you know who the bees are? A group of unrelated sisters with you, our big brother, sitting at the top. I believe in being loyal to friends is telling the truth. To be clear, I'm speaking just on my behalf. Why I'm very grateful to all you YouTubers and activists out there, I don't think you're being 100% honest. We are in a mess. The right won't unite. The left are falling apart. The Labour can no longer rely on the bloc votes of the Islamic bloc votes. The Greens no longer speak any English. The Lib Dems are just morally immoral clowns. What we can do is, as people, it's now up to us to save our country. We use the written word. We write to our MPs. We tell them they're not entitled to our vote. They earn our vote. We demand what we want for their votes, and we do that in a strong manner. Parents, it's time to go to the schools. If you don't like what your children are being taught and you don't agree with it, you also use the written word. We, as one, are powerful. We are one as powerful And it's up to us, the British people, the good people, no matter what colour your skin, to stand up and demand we have the power, right? The politicians think that they have the right to our vote. We have to say no more. Also, where I don't think people are being 100% honest is I don't hear anybody talking about preparing, right? We hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. The youngsters have no clue, with all due respect. I don't hear anybody talking about a little bit of extra food, a little bit of extra water, blankets, candles, things like that, a meeting point. So we can still do this, but we have to be honest. Whatever way it goes, whether the left win and we lose the country, or the right win, they somehow unite and they start getting this country back in order. This is not going to end well. If people think that the left are really going to take that laying down, the Antifa lot, you know, the people that have been in this country for many years, don't speak any English, refuse to integrate, just getting pensions and not contributing. They're not want to go. They're not going to want to go back. The illegals are not want to go back. Why aren't we being honest and talking about preparing for what's to come? And why are we not holding these politicians to account? And with the written word peacefully, the last thing is Islam, right? The call to prayer. That isn't a peaceful call. That is a show of dominance. Why can't we just, in the lockdown, we all made a noise, we clapped. It's down to communities to peaceful stand there and clap that sound out. We have to be fair, very fair, but very strong. We're not going to tolerate this no more. This is for our children.
Julie, it's a really powerful message that you said there. Thank you so much for that. I want to address one part of it, which is a really good point. You know, why are we not preparing? Why are we not talking about preparing? I mean, you've given me some food for thought there. And it's a very, very serious topic and one that will take a lot of thinking about. However, I think all of us YouTubers are very aware that talking about preparation, sometimes I've often spoke about the responsibility that we have to our viewers in the respect that people call us influencers for a reason, because like we do influence some people, and you have to be careful who you're influencing and what you're going to be talking about when it comes to preparation. I'm going to give that some thought, Julie, because I think it's a really, really good topic. The problem for me is that preparing for what could come involves conversations that will probably be deemed as being illegal. And you've got to be very careful. It's got to be very well thought out. It's got to be very well worded. But you're absolutely right.
If I may step in,
Yeah.
just getting a few extra tins of, right, we could
Yeah.
have a cyber attack for all we know,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of things going on that we don't know about. Getting a few extra tins a week, getting a few bottles of water, having some candles, telling your children, the youngsters, to find a meeting point, a safe place to all be together. You know, having a few blankets and that. These aren't things that are so terrible. What in our day, Paul, with all due respect, right? We remember the 3 day a week. We remember going to the phone box. We remember doing all of these things. We remember the troubles and how it overflowed to us. We remember all of these things. Unfortunately, why I respect the youngsters, they have not a clue. And I really do believe it is up to us as grandparents not to scare them, not to say anything to them, but
Yeah.
prepare in
Prepare.
just a general way. And the last point I'd like to make is you mentioned, like, I don't want to fight. You know, my health's not very good. I'm the wrong side of 50. I am happy to debate with anybody if you wish to debate with me. However, if you come for my friends and my family and you are disrespectful to them, you are intolerable to them, do not think for 1 minute if you don't deserve a smack in the mouth, you are certainly likely to get one off of me. I stand by my principles, and excuse my language, I'm not going to fucking change for any stupid politician that tells me to. It ain't on.
Well said, Julie.
That's it.
Thank you so much, darling. All the best to you. You have a
All
lovely,
right.
safe weekend, and thank you as always for coming on. That's the lovely Julie. Let's go to No Chance. I'm hoping he's got his mic on. I think it's off at the moment.
Hello.
No Chance. Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. What's on your mind?
Brilliant. I just think you've talked a lot about unity and trying not to divide, but I think whether you like it or not, the ethnats are part of the right. They do play a role in the right. There's some maybe you'll say are be too extreme for your palate, which is fair enough. But
Can I just stop you there? Because let me just ask you a question as you speak. I'm going to ask you a question as it comes into my mind. This is what we need to do. We need to agree on the definition of an ethnat. So what is your definition of an ethno-nationalist? Just someone that looks at race scientifically and says, well, look, to be genuinely English or Scottish, you have to be white. That's one kind of ethno-nationalism. Or is it an ethno-nationalism where you're black, you shouldn't be here? There's two types and people get confused with it. Which one are we talking about?
I would say simply Scotland for the Scots, England for the English. And yes, the English and Scots are white. It's like the French are not Scottish.
Yeah.
Germans are not Scottish. That doesn't mean anyone that's white can be Scottish. It means that we are a distinct
I
group.
agree with that. Yeah. Are you a Scottish nationalist yourself?
Yeah.
Yep.
In full disclosure, I am friends with your Steve Laws, Mark Collette, like a lot of the more extreme lot that you would say. But they play a role in the political arena, whether you like it or not. The reason Steve is
Well,
so hardline,
they're certainly playing a role at the moment. Yeah, go on, carry on.
Yeah, well, the reason Steve's so hardline is so that it allows the conversation. It allows maybe you to have more honest conversations that aren't as extreme. He's openly said it's a strategy to make.
Yeah, I've heard
open
that.
the door for used to be a bit harder line, because a lot of the conversation on the right forever has been trying to prove how accepting and not racist you are and never taking your own side. And that is the reason we're seeing the demographic disaster we're having at the moment. There's parts of Glasgow that are unrecognisable. It's like the Middle East, the small towns and across Scotland that there's loads of Africans everywhere. And it's just, it shouldn't be happening. It's not natural. And some people's argument is, which the argument they always use is, we've always had immigration. Immigration is a natural thing throughout centuries.
It's not.
What's happening now is not natural. It is intentional. It is over the top, and it's unacceptable. And I think, I know he's your friend, Richard Inman. I think he's just on attack mode, and there's no charity anywhere. I think it'd be quite interesting to maybe get you to sit down and have a conversation with an ethno-nationalist. I know people kicked up a fuss in your circles when he went on Liam Tufts, but I could set you up with anyone from across the ethnat spectrum if you would like to have a level-headed conversation.
Yeah, look, I can have a level-headed conversation with anyone, but the problem is, it's very complex for me. I mean, first of all, can I ask you, so if, being a Scottish nationalist, you're not a unionist, no?
Well, I would say that the current government we have at the moment it's probably within our interests to be unionists, because the SNP at the moment are accelerating immigration to Scotland. They're calling the new arrivals new
Let's forget
Scots.
politically. Let's forget politically. Forget the political bullshit. Do you love England?
I don't hate England, just on our neighbours.
Because I tell you now, I'll tell you this. I love Scotland.
Yeah.
I love Scotland. I love Northern Ireland. I love Wales. I love the people of Scotland. And I'll tell you why, because I always go back to the same thing. Our boys fucking stood and died next to each other.
Yeah.
And that'll do for me.
There's a lot of history between the two nations like that. And that's our kind of point.
Let me tell you something, mate. God forbid, if I ever, I'm too old now, but when I was younger, I always said to my mum and dad, God rest their souls, if I ever had to march into war, I'd like to do it in front of the bagpipes.
It's like Marmite, you either love them or you hate them, but I do like them just being Scottish. But I think, see, you say you love Scotland, you love Wales, you love Ireland. I love all these our neighbours as well. But when I visit England, I want to see English people. I want to experience English people.
I agree. I agree. 100%.
I'll tell you, one of my big awakenings that I was kind of similar, but it was like kumbaya. I'm sure we can all just get along. But at the time, say 10 years ago, Scotland hadn't had as much immigration. But then I was working down in London. I was working in the city, and I was in Whitechapel and Brick Lane, and that was just a complete shock to me. And my instinct was, I do not want my country to turn out like this.
Yeah.
And
it's not a shock for me, mate. I'm a bloody Londoner.
Aye. Well, you all ran away to Essex because it's horrific. Like, and it's not racist. It's not Nazism to want to preserve your people. And I think this caricature, and even just picking out comments, that's not a reflection of Restore. I think even your people like your Sargons, your Bodaids, your Harrison Pitts, all those people, they're not Steve Laws, but they are nativists. They're very concerned about England and the English people.
And I would stand by that. I would stand by that. The ethno-nationalism, we'll use that term again, the ethno-nationalism that you've just described, I've got no problem with, none whatsoever. In fact, if that's what a true ethno-nationalist is, then I would probably describe myself as one. The problem is that bloody food I had earlier on, excuse me. The problem is that when you mention the term ethno-nationalism to the uneducated public, they immediately think, and I'm just going to pop something. Can you see the screen all right, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just look. Let me pop this up. This is a couple of messages that were on X about Baraka. Do you know who Baraka is?
Yeah, I know Baraka, yeah.
Yeah, you know Baraka. So there's a message here. You haven't even been here long enough to have an English accent. That's no problem, okay. Your home is some shithole in sub-Saharan Africa. That's where you'll be headed to. And the next comment is, your home is Africa and you're going back. Now, if that's the type of ethno-nationalism rhetoric, right, that will not win a general election. That has been my point.
But do you know what also doesn't help is you'll highlight, say, some comments. Baraka, like, he's a nice lad. He follows me, I follow him. Like,
who's this, sorry? Baraka?
Baraka, yeah.
Yeah.
He does snipe and have digs. He's not as brazen as that based in Bougie. She's like Richard Inman. She's a bit of an attack dog. So she gets a lot of abuse back. And I think the reason you're seeing people just lean into it is people have been called racist for taking their own side for long enough. And they just go, do you know what? You're arguing back to Africa, so be it. And they just lean in. But
they need to pick, the only thing I would say to that, mate, is they need to pick on the right people, don't they? I mean, look, at the end of the day, we want to win our country back, right? We want to do the job. We all know what we want, right? But we're not going to win it unless we win. And I've spoken about this. You've probably heard me speak about it. We've got to win Middle England. We've got to win Middle Scotland. We've got to win the SNP voters. We've got to win the Labour voters in Scotland. We've got to win everyone. And you're not going to win it with language like that, are we?
I would say that kind of leaning to the middle is a bit of a fallacy. Where you look at someone like Nigel Farage, he's kind of made his bones on being the anti-immigration person. and then he softens himself to try and appeal to this centre you talk about. Boris Johnson done the same. I was Mr. Hardline Immigration. They then won an insane election results, and then we get the Boris wave. What you're needing to do, which you've seen with the recent, where was it again? The recent one today. The results came out today.
Oh, Gordon and Denson.
Yeah, there was like 50% of people that didn't turn up.
Didn't
And
even
what you're
bother,
looking to do is energize those people. And those people are the forgotten people.
Do you
It's
think
the
they can be
native-
energized? Do you think they can, or do you think they
I
just
think-
can't be bothered?
You might disagree with this, but I think with a nativist, we are here for you message, like Restore is given, that's going to get people off the couch, where every other party is catering to minorities, the immigrant vote. You even seen that with Reform. They said we need to embrace the Muslim vote or we're never going to win. And then you look at how the Green Party organised. It was all family voting. It was all very...
cheating.
Yeah. And we need to energise that, the forgotten native
Oh, I agree.
population.
I
And that's
100% agree. But will you energise them with if the rhetoric is too strong or deemed as being abusive? You know, that was one of the points I was. But another thing that I will say is that I was watching Dean O'Bain earlier on, who I've suddenly become a non-fan of because of the way that he. I think he tried to stitch me up earlier on, to be honest with you. Playing my video and then stopping it at important parts and talking about other things totally irrelevant whilst pulling funny faces like I'm an idiot. But there you go, that's another story. He said that he believes that 50% are waiting to be energised and are probably nationalists. I'm not convinced, mate. I think half of them are lazy bastards laying in bed, smoking dope and probably not giving two fucks about who wins what as long as it doesn't affect them. But I hope I'm wrong.
I would disagree with that, but I would also disagree with appealing to the nice minority. I don't know if you know Harman Singh Kapoor, whatever his name is. He was the big minority in the kind of Tommy scene for a while. But then he's publicly celebrated the demographic disaster we're in. He's talked about the white man washing his feet. Like a lot of these people end up just taking their own side. And even if you look at the Tory party leader, Kemi Badenoch, when she got into Parliament, the first thing she done was secure funds for Nigeria to build a mall in Nigeria. And then you're getting these people that are wanting to build like airports in fucking Bangladesh. And you're like, these people take their own side. We've been conditioned to not take our own side. And then when we do,
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I mean, look, mate, I've got to tell you, thanks for coming on because I've really, really enjoyed this call. Look, maybe I am wrong. Maybe the nation is waiting for a Rupert Lowe. You know something? I can't tell you how much I'd want to believe that. But then, you know, when I go out and meet a load of Brits here in Benidorm, all working class fellas, you know, they got their football shirts on, you know, Notts Forest, Leeds, Man United, Arsenal, you know, you name it, right? You get talking about a bit of politics and they haven't got a fucking clue.
They've probably been put to sleep with football and things like that. Yeah, because I think
they don't even know who Rupert Lowe is, let alone Ben Abed, you know. So, and this is the concern. Is this? I suppose what I'm saying is Rupert majorly popular in an internet bubble that we all live in, and the rest of the country don't know? I don't know.
I wouldn't say so. I think he's even looking at across the different age demographics. A lot of the young people love Rupert. A lot of kind of middle-aged people love Rupert. He's got a heavy kind of following on Facebook, which is your kind of normie.
Yeah, million viewers, yeah.
And it's like normie, older kind of generation. And these people will kind of share things with their family and look at this. And I think he will have mass appeal. I hope you don't mind me saying about the advance thing.
No, not at all. Whatever you like.
Understand that a lot of you guys have put time, energy, blood, sweat, tears. A lot of you have worked for free building this thing up. And understand you might want to protect that and say this must carry on, but it's not going anywhere. Even if you look at how many people tuned into Tommy Robinson's Unite the Kingdom rally, how many? It was millions, like all over, up and down the country, and then there was people all over the country on the streets of London. Advanced UK was on the screen the entire day as like an advertisement for the party, and you still only reached about 40,000 members, which is impressive. Not belittling that, but it's not
going to win a general election, is it?
And I think we need to, as much as a lot of people have put their eggs in that basket, you need to kind of move on and hopefully restore. But don't get caught up in all this. This person made a comment on social media. See, when you look at the left, people always say the left are unified, but do you know what the left also don't do? Is they don't hang their radicals out to dry. They understand the radicals play a part. They're not pulling a social media comment from some like commie saying about like hang all the fascists. Like they're just going, right, let them do their thing. We'll do our thing.
Stick by them, don't they? They're more unified. Listen, mate, great call. I really enjoyed that, and I hope you come on again because that was a very, very informative and interesting chat. I'm sure the viewers enjoyed that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, mate.
Thanks,
all
mate.
the best, yeah. God bless you, mate. All the best. Love to Scotland, by the way.
And England.
Thank you, mate. All the best,
Cheers,
brother.
bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. What a great guest. Really enjoyed that. Let's bring in Ray. Ray, can you hear me, my friend?
Hello, Paul. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
How are you doing, buddy? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm well, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Are you gonna give me a going over, or what's gonna go on here?
No, I wouldn't do that, mate. No.
No, you're more than welcome to if you want to, mate. I'm all set.
No, I've been on your show before. As far as your advanced situation goes, I think you're doing the right thing. You know, you've got to do what you think is right at the time.
Yeah.
However things progress, I mean, you know what politics is like. It could go either way. Things will change. There's a long way to go. So yeah, I mean, no umbrage to you there, mate. You got to do what you think is right, and that's the end of the story. That's it.
Yeah, I think I did it. I did it, to be honest with you, and I don't want to sound like all sickly when I say this, but I did it because I want to serve my viewers better, and I can't serve them when I've got to be biased.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, because of the split that's happened here, I mean, it's a bit of a disaster, really. But it is what it is. So it's hard if if you've got allegiance to one particular group, then you kind of have to stick with it, and you can't take in things from other groups, which may be better, or may not be better.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to harp on about that. I mean, that's your personal choice, and that's up to you, and that's fair enough. This whole ethno-nat thing, I'd like to find the person who dug that term out of the dictionary, because I'd never really heard of it before until the last couple of months, really. So, and it does infer that it's a very far right kind of belief, but
that's the inference, right? That's what I was saying earlier on. Whether it means that or not, whether there's anything sinister in it or not, doesn't really matter. It's the inference.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, because people they hear that and they will automatically make an assumption about it. But what I want to say is that people keep pushing that as a real far right thing. It's not really, not when you actually look at the definition of it. But you want to go back a few years, you want to talk about far right, you go back to the 70s and the early 80s, and if you live through that period, you will know what far right really means.
Yeah.
And it's not a very good thing. There was a lot of things going on. If you're a follower of football, which I know you are, then you will have come across far right people, and it's not a good day out for anybody. So I feel that they're trying to sort of channel things towards a certain viewpoint as like the real far right. You know, I mean, I'm right wing, but I'm not far right because I've seen what far right actually is.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all very confusing, isn't it, Ray? I mean, the bottom line is, you know, right wing, far right. I just look at things as right and wrong.
Well, that's very true. That's very true.
And
but
you know, I agree with a lot of views that many people would call far right, but I always stop at the point of decency. And this is maybe one of my problems: is that I cannot give up my morals. For an example, you know, I remember interviewing Nick Tanconi, and I said to him, Nick, I said, so when you say they're all going home, every single one of them, does that mean that you're going to literally send a squad of people around to break up a family of, you know, a black dad, a white mum, and a mixed race child? Are you going to take that dad away from that child?
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
You know, I just can't do that, mate. I haven't got it in my heart to do that. I've got friends that are married into mixed race families.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful people. Where the fuck are we going to send them? They were born here, mate.
Yeah, I mean, that's an outrageous proposition, really. You know, and that would never happen. But
well, not without a civil war, it wouldn't.
Well, you know, it's I don't know where to go with that, really, but I can't believe that people actually think that.
Well, they do, and we, you know, and I've been seeing it in the comments, and it's been, you know, rife over the last couple of weeks. Yes, I want to protect, just like every other race that has a right to be the what's the right word? The dominant, is that not really the right word, is it? The overwhelming majority of any country should be of its indigenous population, whether that be Japan, Ireland, England, Scotland, Argentina, wherever.
We all agree
right?
on that one. Yeah,
we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
That's not a debate. The issue comes when you've got people that want to deport every single person. And I'm not aiming this at Restore, by the way. Anyone, because people will be saying, "Oh, you shouldn't say that." I'm not talking about Restore. I'm talking about some of the people that have entered the arena, this internet arena that we live in, and some of the messages that I've had emails saying, "Oh, just kick the fucking lot out. Every single one of them have got to go." You know, well, good luck with that. You know, because
I mean, that's never going to happen, and it shouldn't happen anyway. That's the bottom line there. I mean, you've got a lot of YouTube warriors on the internet these days, Paul. They're typing comments in. Even some of the commentators and some of the YouTubers, they're coming out with stuff that, in real life, they would probably not really back up. You know, they're saying stuff which is outrageous. It is really outrageous.
I mean, who knows, mate? But like, whether people like me or whether they don't, I know myself, right? I know me as a human being. Nobody knows me better than me, right? And I will never, ever do anything on my channel to deliberately try and mislead someone, to try and cheat someone, to wind them up into doing something they shouldn't be doing. In fact, I'm the opposite. You know, I don't want to see, you know, I was once not targeted, but I was once accused of trying to stop people from going to protests, right? I don't want to see another Peter Lynch, God rest his soul. I don't want to see another Lucy Connolly. I don't want innocent patriots being sent to jail by these absolute bastards that are in power right now, and the judges that they're influencing, sending dads and granddads to jail. I don't want that. I care about those people.
Yeah, I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a lot of. It's history now, unfortunately, brought on upon us by our current government. What we've got to do is try and change that. And the way we're going at the moment, it's not really going very well, is it? So,
no,
you know, I had a chat with you a little while ago, and it was all about getting them to sit down at a table and try and resolve their petty differences and their egos and join as one, and then get it all moving forward. Because that's the only way. I mean, and this Denton by-election absolutely proves that. It's just it's a prime example.
100%, Ray. If that doesn't wake up the nation, then we are screwed, mate. Because my God, what an absolute shit show. Ray, I'm going to move on, mate, because I've been on for nearly 2 hours and I've still
Sorry,
got
mate.
calls to
Yeah,
get. No, you're right.
I've got more to say. I'll get back to you another time.
Anytime. God bless you, mate. All the best. Yeah, take care. We've got Dave, Craig, Jack, and Blitzer. No more calls tonight. I'm going to take these last 4. Dave, you are up next, my friend. How are you?
Not so bad, Paul. Yourself? Can you hear me, bud?
I'm very well, mate. I can hear you fine. What's on your mind, Dave?
You, to be fair.
Go on, mate. Give it to me.
I've been following you for quite a while, along with Maya Tusi.
Go on.
I've been following you, Maya Tusi, and quite a few others for quite a while now. And you decided to go across to Advance, and then you started with your, forget reform, and I just thought, what a full weight crank this guy's turned out to be. Just
crank,
why?
Did you say?
Yep. That's
are you a reform person?
Right. I am, but for the wrong reasons.
Right.
So I'm doing it tactically. There is nothing I would love more than for Ben Habib to be Prime Minister of his country. I think the guy is absolutely phenomenal. But as you've said, the most realistic way of anything like that ever happening is the pendulum has swung and it's going further and further and further to the left. Now, Ben and Rupert are both, I'm not going to say far right, but the further right than what Nigel is.
Yeah.
So we need we need to muscle together. Them two need to sort themselves out. Nigel has already got the manpower and the machine there. He's doing this trickery thing that most politicians do, where he's saying the things to attract the headlines, and then he calms down. He's playing the game. You can see he's playing the game. Yeah, he is. He's doing that, and everybody who wants to go to the right needs to get reform in, because once we've got reform in, let them just turn the pendulum to the right for a little bit. That sends an absolutely smashing bedrock then for Ben, Rupert, whoever, to then follow on in them footsteps. And the idea that you came out with earlier with the infiltration were fantastic. I mean, what I've been doing is I'm a truck driver. I consume 10, maybe 12 hours of YouTube a day. You, Maya, quite a lot of them. But
it's terrible, isn't it? It's terrible.
It's awful. It's awful. But about 3 hours of that, and I don't want to give a shout out to this channel, but I'm gonna have to. I watch a channel called A Different Bias. Now this guy,
I haven't come across that one. Go on.
Yeah, he's a little bit smaller than you, but his outreach is something else. And this channel is the most far left channel you can ever come across.
That's what I've not come across it.
Yeah, well, this is and it's amazing how all these far left channels, they have different apps. They promote apps. They promote programs of how to vote to stop reform, Advance, all these coming in. The right doesn't think like that. The right splinters off thinking this party, and they are clever. And then you've got the Muslim vote, which then again comes in with the Greens. Them two are completely incompatible. You've got these purple-haired loonies that's going to be thrown off top of buildings. They don't get it. But the problem with our lot, the people on the right, is the fact that they only maybe consume two hours of politics every week. For example, my missus couldn't give 2 hoots about it. And my best friend, who had no idea of politics at all, I introduced him to it. 2 months later, he's down at the United Kingdom March. And 4 of our lads from work took the day off to go down there. And that's called engagement. And you got the exact platform. Now you've come away from Advance. I saw the live stream, Paul Thorpe today. I'm thinking, what now? Right, I've resigned and I'm doing it to Unite. And I'm thinking, this is brilliant. Paul's back. We've got Paul back.
Yeah.
Now we can stop this rhetoric of forget this, forget this. The only way that I can see this happening before we get absolutely destroyed and the Islamist vote comes away from Green, and it's going to happen, Paul. They're going to start their own party, the Muslim party. they're going to get the majority, and then we are all crackered.
Oh, mate, we are
Christianity
screwed.
will
Yeah.
not be a thing anymore in this country. It needs to be, everyone needs to get behind the one person, not the person, the party, sorry. The one party, get the pendulum back right, and then go as far right as you want. I'm not on about these, with the ethno-nationalism where it's,
I know what you mean.
get rid of everybody that's brown. I'm not interested in that. I just
get what
want
you
us to
mean.
be able to go out and preach. Look what happened yesterday with the Manchester protests, with the Islamists coming and smashing the living daylights out of the march. Nothing happened there. It's going wrong. You're doing well, Paul, and we need to find a system the way that the left do. They're calibrated, they're calculated, they know what they're doing with all these apps and these vote for these and that'll stop these. We don't have any of that. What we've got to do is, people like
Be
you,
more
and
organised.
dare I say it, Mike Graham, he's on the right of it. You've got Tommy Robinson. Everybody, they just need to sort their heads out, and we need to get behind the one person who's going to lead us back right again.
That's what I've been trying to do for the last 2.5 years, mate. I would say that, just reiterating what I said earlier on, and when I was approached for my opinion and my thoughts of the best way forward, it was to try and infiltrate reform and take over once we was in power. It's a lot easier to take over when you're in power than it is to get power in the first place.
Of course.
And with the right people involved in reform, and there are still plenty of good people in reform with views exactly the same as ours, and that are boxing clever and would hope to. But the problem is, you see, is that Farage has now gone so far down the route of bringing in the Tories and ex-Lib Dems and whoever, Uncle Tom Cobley and all.
Half of them won't be there at next election. They won't be there.
Exactly. We got to wait and see how it goes. But look, all I'm interested in is us winning, and we all know what victory looks like. We just got to decide how we're going to get there.
I mean, we're all far right. You've got Elon Musk who he calls on that other channel, Space Karen. You're far right. Everyone else is far right. The people that can motivate all these fat slobs that are sitting on the sofas and moaning about the situation and not doing anything about the situation.
Doing nothing, yeah.
The mainstream media can't motivate them. The only people that can motivate them is the people likes of you, the likes of Tommy and Nigel, and all the rest of the crew need to realise that they've got the power. Tommy and you and people like Maya, although Maya's non-political, he doesn't subscribe to any party, but they can get the motivation going. Once we get that motivation, there's no stopping us. Then it's a force to be reckoned with. And now you're back. We've got 300,000 subscribers that can now come. All we need to do, how they've explained it with the Muslims, is just influence 10 people. That's all you got to do, and before you know it, out of this 1,000 people, we've got 100,000 people. That's now motivated. You can do that with 305,000 people. If all 305 spoke to 10 people that are not interested in politics, got them engaged a little bit, put them on your channel. I do it with my mum.
Yeah.
Put them on your channel and get them all. Get the rally going.
Yeah,
that's what it needs, and it needs to recognise that that's a thing.
Dave, great call, mate. Thank you very much. I've listened to every word, and honestly, mate, I've taken it all in. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming back, Paul.
All the best, mate. My pleasure. All the best to you, brother. Take care. Have a good weekend.
You too, mate.
That is Dave. Let's bring in Jack. Jack, sorry for the long wait, mate. We got Jack, and then we got Craig, and then we got Blitzer. Jack, good evening. Can you hear me? Jack, no, Jack has disappeared. Let's bring in Craig. Craig, good evening.
Hi, Paul.
How you doing, Jack? Craig? Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
Yeah. So basically, what I wanted to discuss was the apparent split between Restore, Advance, Reform, and all the others on the right. The problem I have is, because I'm a member of Advance, I fully support Ben 100%. He's probably the most honest politician, or player that we have on the scene. the problem is the country's not ready for Ben. They're not ready for the college. He's too honest. He's too straight shooting. It's exactly what the country needs, but not right now. The problem I have is the strength that the left has. It needs a stronger message on the right to pull it away from the left. And unfortunately, it seems that Restar's picking up the pace and the momentum at the moment. So, although, yes, I believe the college and Ben's message and everything is absolutely spot on,
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder maybe the country needs something more like a Restart Britain.
I mean, look, it's a great question, and I don't know the answer myself. I mean, it'll all unfold. I agree with you that, you know, Ben is a great man. I think the college is a great concept. I think it's such a wonderful thing that ordinary people were given the power to go out and engage with other ordinary people and take those ordinary people's thoughts back to the leadership to make a genuine difference. I actually love that. But you might be right. I think one caveat to that, possibly, Craig, is that with the harder approach will probably come the harder response from the left. And we've seen how they are capable of uniting. And because the British public in general, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, because they're so bloody stupid when it comes to politics, I mean, you know, the left will swallow up every single university and college in the United Kingdom in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They'll also swallow up every single person that is, you know, well, I won't go too much into descriptions about what type of people. We know what type of people that are going to be attracted to the left.
Yeah.
They have so many different groups that they can attract and call upon. I'm not sure that we have enough people to defeat them. I mean, do we have enough people? Do you think we do?
To be honest, I'm not
Bearing
entirely
in mind, if you go back historically, I didn't actually know this. This is not me being clever. This is something that I read the other day, and I didn't realise this. I've always thought as the United Kingdom as a pretty conservative sort of country, but if you go back through history and look at the voting pattern, we're not. We're a left-wing country.
No. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And even like when I was younger, I voted Labour, which I didn't. It's a big regret that I have now. But obviously, you usually find that a lot of youngsters, especially when I was younger, they were more left-leaning, and as they get older, they tend to become more right-leaning. It's just a process that everyone seemed to go through at the time. But the thing is, no matter who gets in power, whether it's Reform, Restore, Advance, any of the right-wing parties, the minute they start mass deporting people who are illegals or whatever, the left are going to kick off anyway.
Oh, yeah, big time.
They're going to kick off one way or another. So it's not the case of if, it's more the case of when.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's a lady you had on earlier said about preparing and stuff. I know it's a very risky subject because obviously you have to be careful that you don't get done for inciting anything or anything like that. But
yeah, I think the problem with that is that they would accuse you of encouragement. That's what they'd accuse you of.
Yeah. So it's a very hard subject to talk about safely without being accused of anything. But the problem is, a lot of the general public, I wouldn't say they're stupid, I think they're just ignorant. Because it's like the old saying, isn't it? Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're trying to they want to bury their heads in the sand because it doesn't affect them directly right now. And when they start waking up, it's because something's affected them.
Yeah.
I've got 2 kids. You know, my worry is what's the future going to look like for them, and I don't want to see it continuing going down the route it's going. And like I said, you know, Advance for me is the best option with the college because it's the most democratic party there is out there. But I'm just not 100% certain as to whether population of this
Whether
country
it's
is,
got,
well,
whether it's got what it takes, mate. Craig, thank
well,
you for
no,
the
it's,
great.
it's more about whether they're ready for it now.
Yeah, whether
If you
they're
know what I
ready
mean.
for it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get it. I get it.
it seems like they want more of a push from the right.
Yeah, if you
as
read the
much as
room,
at the, yeah,
if we read
yeah.
the room, the push is more to the right. My concern all along, Craig, is that, you know, is there going to be enough people that want that hard push to the right? I hope there is, but I'm
Yeah.
not so sure that there will be, knowing how the British people react to stuff like that, especially with the mainstream media behind the opposition. Craig, I'm going to move on, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank
all
you.
the best to you. Have a great weekend. That is Craig. Last up is Blitzer, and then I will get into the chat. Blitzer, can you hear me, mate?
Yes, I can hear you, Paul.
Sorry for the wait. It's been a busy one tonight.
I understand. And I also understand and support your decision to resign from Advance. I think Advance are toast now. It's not that there was anything wrong with the party or anything wrong with the candidate. Nick Buckley was as good a candidate as you could have asked for.
Yeah.
But when you have a machine like Advance and a candidate like Nick Buckley, and you only get 154 votes, 5 less than the Monster Raving Looney Party,
It
you're
was a
done.
disaster. Yeah.
You're finished. Advance are stillborn as far as I'm concerned. And maybe that's why Rupert didn't want to take over Advance. Maybe he could see the writing on the wall like all great political leaders do long before the rest of us mere mortals.
Would that have been the same result? Sorry, if Rupert had joined with Ben, though, would that have been the same result, do you think? I don't think it would have been. I think they'd have done much better.
Well, it's all academic now. I think our best shot is restore until someone or something better comes along. Yes, I think we're not going to vote our way out of this crisis. What we've witnessed in the last 24 hours is sort of I know it's going to sound a bit hyperbolic, but a cross between Operation Barbarossa and Revenge of the Sith. We are on the back foot. Our country is in grave danger, and I think the British people have picked up evolutionary bad habits, and as such are unwilling or unable to defend our culture, defend our country, and that we are going the way of the dodo. And those of us who do want to stand and defend, we can only do so much before, like the Jews were when the Romans destroyed the temple, we're scattered to wander the earth for thousands of years without a homeland. I don't want to sound black pill, but I think politics is not going to solve this now. I've been saying this for a long time. Professor Neil Ferguson's been saying this for a long time. And one of your commenters in the chat has said this.
Yeah.
We are heading for a Balkan-style civil war. And to invert what Nelson Mandela once said, we can't win an election. We might be able to win a civil war, but it'll come at a great cost.
Look, I think you're being very prophetic in many respects, and I'm gonna say this, and I hope people understand that I can't always say exactly what's in my heart and exactly what I feel, because as a relatively well-known YouTuber, you do have to watch your language. I'm not going to disagree with what you've just said. I fear that may be the case. But in my position, I have to try and look for the positives and try and look for a way out of that, because I genuinely don't want to see bloodshed.
We have to keep fighting no matter the cost. We can't give up. We would be betraying future generations to bondage if we do.
here's one of the problems. Here's one of the problems is that, God forbid, if that did happen, and I'm interested to know what your answer to this is. If that did happen, who is the fight against? Does that fight include the government, the armed forces, the police? How would that look? Because I never see our troops turning on our people, but I do see the police turning on them.
I'm very cynical about human nature and about authority in general. Our enemy is the state apparatus. It's always been the state. All of our problems come from a single source, the existence of a state apparatus. And that's what Javier Milei has been railing against. That's what the founding fathers of the United States were worried about, which is why they tried to constrain the power of the state.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I get it. Mate, great call. Really interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate that. Lots to think about there. What a great set of guests I've had on this evening. And by the way, for a man that has taken absolute dog's abuse from people in the chat for the last 2 or 3 days at least, there was your chance tonight. Come on and tell me where I've got it wrong. You let me down, didn't you? All you haters out there, where were you? No doubt you'll be back in the comments tomorrow. Gaming with Yam Yam, there's about 90 million in the UK, and sadly, I think a small amount of that are actual patriots. I think there's more lefties and Islamists than right wingers. That's a question that I brought up earlier on. Michael, thank you, Michael. Cole Benjamin very nearly sank UKIP single-handed with his big mouth when Gerard Batten was running it. Rupert really needs to put his foot down. Thank you, Michael. I can't comment on that because I don't actually know about that, but thank you for the comment there. Charlie, again, the term to describe Ben Habib is unacceptable. Thank you, Charlie. That term to describe Ben Habib is unacceptable. George, I am a Canadian and stand behind you. Thank you, George. Al Mac, Paul, distance yourself from Richard Inman. He's unhinged and will bring you down. He gets more angry about FNATs than nonce gangs, virtue signaling. Al, let me tell you something, mate. Richard Inman spent about 6 grand of his own money. He spent weeks in the back of cars, spent weeks undercover, months undercover, and played a major role in the series, The Rape of Britain. Richard is very passionate and is one of the most passionate men I've ever met when it comes to those nonce gangs. So I think that's a bit unfair, mate. Yes, he's passionate. Yes, sometimes he lets himself run away, right? But he's my mate and I won't distance myself from him because he's a good man. Now, I know you might have trouble with that, right? But I know him. Right, and I'll tell you now, if you was in the trenches and it was Brits versus the rest of the world, you want Richard next to you. So, but thank you anyway. I appreciate your comment. Wolf, thank you very much. Sharon, sending the hugs. Paul, Julie is right. Love the Queen Bee. Sisters and our brother Paul, get those emails going. It's our country, stand your ground. Sharon, thank you so much for your support. As always, Hartford. Paul, I got cut off after waiting so long. Can't now get the link. Please upload. Regards, Linford. Linford, I'm so sorry, mate. I'm behind with everything tonight. I did see you earlier on, and then when I went to bring you in, you'd gone. I'll see you next time, brother. Have a great weekend. Hi, Wolf again. Hi, Paul. Rupert said on an interview with Carl that he doesn't read his emails or take calls. He leaves all that stuff to his staff. Well, someone didn't want him. Well, if someone didn't want him to see certain emails, possible. Interesting. Charlie, thank you, Charlie. Paul, can I just say to you, please don't feel let down at all about anything you have said or done. We need to unify because divided we fall. Thanks for letting me up. Absolutely fantastic man and patriot. Charlie, you're a little superstar, mate, and I really appreciate your presence. Visual UK, Paul, love your show, mate. Look, we all need to unite. British working class need to stop arguing, and the right politicians need to sit down and talk. 100% here. Lauren, hi. How long, Paul? First timer, and bin name is Dave. Sorry, let me read that again. I'm getting tired. How long, Paul? First timer, and bin name is Dave. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Almac, no chance, is not an SNP nationalist. He is a Brit. Well, he said he was a Scottish nationalist, didn't he? That was a great call. Official Knights Templar Church, is civil unrest now inevitable after the next general election? What a thought. Those bastards have brought all this upon us, haven't they? I'm sure Starmer is leading the groom, Ang. Cheers, Jeff. Thank you very much. I think that's the last one. Yep, thank you. Over 2,500 messages in the regular chat. Little chance of getting through them, I'm afraid. But what a great show tonight. I mean, absolutely love these shows. I hope you guys do too. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. That would really be helpful. Thank you. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and please spread the word. You know, let's grow the community. Let's get people of all different persuasions from the right hand side. Let's get different opinions, different views. Let's discuss, let's air things, let's shake hands, and ultimately get together. We need to unite. That was my message earlier. It was my message last week, last year, and it will be my message again next week and next year. So let's do it. God bless everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a good show. Let me find my outro and then I can play you all out, and I'll see you soon. Not sure when I'll be back next, but I don't think it's going to be long. Good night, everyone.